What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gung-Fu Super Bros podcast, the number one podcast for Kung Fu martial arts movies and pop culture. Hey, guys, what episode is this?
No idea.
It is
I was asking now. What, 50?
46?
46.
In a row?
46 in a row, bro. Does Aaron think cool about 46? I couldn't think of anything, guys. No, Enrique, I thought from now on you were going to bring us like famous athletes with each number since you did it last time, bro. I'm going to keep talking, hoping that you figure it out while I keep talking and shit.
And Chuck Norris facts. What happened to our Chuck Norris facts?
What happened to Chuck Norris facts, bro?
Did that end in December?
That ended, yeah.
Oh, I got you that book and everything.
Yeah, all right. So what happened to 46? We got a 46 there, Enrique? What do you got?
Yeah, Oscar Robertson.
Oh, the Big O. That was his nickname, right? I just made that shit up right now. The Big O, baby, yeah. Back when basketball was played by 5'6" dudes that were my size and couldn't go left. Good job, Oscar Robinson. I'm sure you were great.
Ricky's just making up.
That's not right. That's not right.
Oh, that's not Oscar Robinson?
No.
Is it Robertson or Robinson?
Jackie Robinson? What is it? That's 42.
Hold on, let me get there. 46. Hold on. Lee Smith.
Lee Smith, the closer for the St. Louis Cardinals, among a lot of other teams. Hall of Fame closer. Didn't even fucking practice that, people. That's off the dope. I can't remember shit, but I can remember Lee Smith, closer for the Cardinals and Hall of Fame.
There's not a lot of number 46s.
So why did you say Oscar Robinson?
Because I'm looking through this list, but it had him. I thought it was a list of number 46s, but it was
he's 46 on a list out of 100.
Number.
I don't know what to believe now.
Got you.
I don't know what to believe.
No, but have you guys?
You people are phony. Big fat phonies.
On the real, have you guys seen like 1970, 1960 basketball highlights?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. The shorts they're wearing, first of all.
We can all be in the league, guys. Right now,
I did
1946. What's that?
I did see a picture of Bob Eubanks on the Cardinals when he actually played.
Bob Eubanks?
Yeah, it's Bob Eubanks.
He did?
Yeah.
And
he's got like I forget who the other. He's an African American teammate, and they're in the front row and they're holding hands, and they're both just smiling like the cheesiest smile, and that's their team picture for that year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. But again, look, baseball, yes, I still think it's played a lot harder now, but you still had to hit a ball with the bat. And I still feel like guys were pitching at different speeds and all that. But basketball, I think I could be in the league in 1960. I'm going to just say that out loud. I think I could go left. I'm going to tell you how much right now. I can go to my left hand. Like, nobody was dunking back then.
Okay,
so I don't have to worry about that.
So in this scenario, it's you from 2022 with your with your knowledge of basketball going back to the 70s, and now you are
no. Let's go to the 60s and 50s.
You are now Will Cinder,
and
the sensation. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's be real. If we go too far back, I can't even be in the league.
No, you're not even.
Right there.
You're not even allowed in the building.
I'm not even allowed in the building. So I'm a Harlem Globetrotter at that most.
I don't know.
We're late 60s then.
I'm like a Los Angeles long basket or something like that.
If you're in the building, you're cleaning restrooms during the game.
I'm like, hey, can I get water there? They're like, get the hell out of here. Oh my God.
Get out of here.
Because I'm from 2022.
In the future, I can go anywhere I want. Shut up.
Yes, it would be right away too. I would have got shot instantly, bro. Oh my God. Okay, but anyways, guys, now the basketball talk. Could Orozco play in the 60s or the 50s? Not the 70s, bro. Because I know damn well I'm not playing in the 70s.
When did they start dunking?
Dr. J played in the 70s, can no?
Yeah, because it wasn't even legal at first. Remember?
Isn't that the most racist rule you ever heard in sports?
We can't do that.
You can't dunk a basketball.
I can't do that. So you can't do that.
So it's illegal.
Which makes that movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell that much funnier when they created the alley-oop. And that was like a special play. to win the game
Yeah.
was the alley-oop because nobody could dunk. So that's what it was. Oh my God. So yeah, guys, basketball talk and racism. That's how we started off the show today, guys. But Abarca, on the reels.
Yes, sir.
Oh wait, Abarca, say hi.
Hey, everybody.
Enrique,
Hello.
super producer Stevens.
Hi.
And remember, my name is Ivan. Yes, you're in the right podcast. We can just go right into racism. It took a little bit. It was a little quicker than usual, guys, but that's exactly where we're at. So, Abarca, Mandalorian. I saw you with the boner today. How's it going?
First of all, sir,
Oh, sorry, not Book of Boba Fett.
it's the
How's it
book
going?
of Boba Fett season 1. Although these last 2 episodes have been Mandalorian season 2.5, baby. Oh my goodness. Today's episode was amazeballs. We got to see Grogu, who's learning the ways of the Force. We got to see Luke Skywalker. That deepfake CG technology is nuts. I had to get up and I'm like, that's Mark Hamill in 1983. Did they bring him back? Can we switch that time machine and go back?
I could be him in basketball too. I'm just saying. I can get him. So just before you go on to speak to that, if let's say this is a 10, what you saw today was a 10 of how good he looks. What was, because I didn't like too much how he looked in The Mandalorian. What would you say that was? What would you rate that?
I would, you know what? I would say that's a good D plus. Since we're teachers,
Okay,
that's
so
a D.
like
It was a D plus.
6?
5,
Okay.
6.
It's only been a year. So
Yes.
what was the big leap?
After that episode, you started to see people create their own deep fakes. And there was a guy on the internet, on YouTube, that was posting really, really awesome deep fakes. And so Lucasfilm, and so everybody in the comments will be like, bro, I don't know why Lucasfilm doesn't hire you, man, because it'd be really cool, you know? Lucasfilm, hire him. You know what Lucasfilm did? They hired him. And so now
That's dope.
this guy, his entire job for the past year has been to make even more amazing deep fakes. There's a scene where Luke Skywalker looks kind of to the left, and then you have to again remember, oh, this is made by AI technology that pumps in, like you pump in thousands of pictures of Mark Hamill circa 82 to after his car accident to maybe 85. And dude, it is getting crazy to the point where I was rewatching the making of The Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau, the executive producer and movie director, he said, "Do you know what? Like right now, the technology is going to get scary. Where we as a society are going to have to understand and create ways of stamping this, of being able to analyze and understand this process." Right now, there's a special program that you can pump in a picture, and it'll tell you if it's been altered in Photoshop. So I feel that there's going to be a tool one day that does the same thing for us. Now, you want to learn something even more crazier?
Kardashians.
Yes. Well, not just that, but as of the recording of this, it looks like there's trouble in Europe again. Imagine if all of a sudden there's a video of a world leader. Like you have the smoking gun. You have what the Steele dossier. You have the peace tape, right? These kind of things that other
Trip.
yeah. I don't normally do this, guys, but this is the remixed. Oh, canceled. Anyway, the technology is getting crazy. The crazier thing is that Luke Skywalker's voice is also AI created. They have fed hours of audio, of Mark Hamill's audio, into the computer, and so all they type out the script, and Luke Skywalker says, he's like, Grogu, you gotta not try to eat that frog, and it's Mark Hamill's voice.
Why not use Mark Hamill
Because
for the voice?
Just like your face ages, your voice changes. So you have to process his voice to make it sound younger. But if I have the voice already, the computer will make it. So at some point, I'm going to be podcasting by myself, and you think these guys are talking. And no, I've just taken all the hours of audio from them. And you know what? It might be this episode. Who knows? This is an AI created episode.
That's awesome. That's crazy, man. But it was that good. It looked that good.
I feel that, yes, it was a big step up. It was a big leap forward in just 1 year. So when Mandalorian 3 comes out, what can you bring in Harrison Ford? Because he doesn't have to act. All you got to do is pay him the money and get the problem. So it opens up another can of worms. You can now create movies where celebrities that have passed away have come back. There was a plan on making a new James Dean movie, and somehow all of a sudden they just stopped talking about it. And you're like, wait, James Dean? Yes, James Dean died miles away from where we live here in Bakersfield.
In his Porsche, yeah?
In his Porsche, yeah, wrapped it around a tree, man. It's horrible. But there could legit be a new James Dean movie. There could be a new Elvis movie. So if you thought that studios were not giving you brand new movies, well, check this out. Studios can now give you brand new movies with the old actors, which is kind of bonkers. Whoa. So overall, I think that the Book of Boba Fett has definitely picked up. A lot of people complained about kind of janky effects, like the racing scene with the teens could have been a little better, but we can see where they spent their money on this season. It's literally legit going to be the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, and again, like that racing scene, to me, it was just slow. It felt like there could be a guy walking past them and be like, hey, move it along, guys. I need to get through here or whatever. It looked good. Those bikes being bright, to me, they're teens. I get it. It's like the old guys have their Cadillacs. They have their like Fast and Furious cars.
They're
right?
just like Fast and Furious. That didn't bother me. If anything, if Fast and Furious was like this, I may watch it. I don't know. I'm sold on Fast and Furious now.
If it's like this, but the speed of the fight scene, you were like, or the chasing, you were like, But like you said, all this stuff is going into maybe these last 2 episodes. And that's pretty badass. Yes. Is a payoff worth it?
Oh my goodness! So the big reveal for this episode: Cad Bane from the Clone Wars animated series. Cad Bane is back. I don't know if he's a puppet. Is he like an animatronic head, or if he's a CG character? But his introduction is a lot like the introduction in old Clint Eastwood movies. He is Lee Van Cleef. He is wearing the hat, and he slowly tilts up and reveals, and he's like, I'll pay you twice as much as Boba Fett. And then that's when I passed out. I was like, I gotta go to work.
He's like, and he just went sideways. That was it. Enrique, do you have an idea who Cad Bane is?
No idea.
No idea. So I don't.
Cad Bane movies.
That's pretty true.
The cool thing, like again, I'm not as into Star Wars as maybe Abarca and a few of our coworkers are, but I watched Clone Wars and I enjoyed that cartoon. Is that where he originated from, Abarca, or was he in the books?
No, he's a character from Clone Wars.
Clone Wars. Okay, cool. So and that was one that I had been asking, like, did you bring Cad Bane? Because again, I only have this much information in Star Wars, so like I stick to what I know. That's why I like Ahsoka so much too, because Zion and I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. So it's one of those series that's really, really cool. And the fact that they brought him, and the first thing I asked him was like, how does he look? Like, so you really don't know if he's a puppet or not? Like,
I have to watch. Here's the thing. So I watch it either at midnight when it comes out, but I'm still in bed, so I watch it on my little screen, and then I'll watch it at work on a bigger screen, but the resolution is low. So I need to check it out. You know what? This is an episode by Dave Filoni. It might as well be a puppet, like an animatronic head. So because they like practical stuff. John Favreau likes practical things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you called him, man. He has such a cowboy look to him. I think that's why I've always liked him. I mean, he looks like he comes out of a Western.
Yeah.
Like he has that bounty hunter looks like a bounty hunter from the West.
Hey guys, I'm going to break kayfabe right now.
Like
Orozco. So we are recording remotely today.
We are not back in the studio. Do I need to lift up my mic?
Do you have the little?
Yes.
the little. Just put the clip up because it's rubbing on your sweater. So
gotcha, bud.
Yeah. So if that was annoying you, that's how Orozco.
We got a break. That's me. Sorry about that, guys.
Not super producer Stevens. She had pristine audio this whole time.
Thank you.
Yeah. She when we started this, man, I was like, did you get like $300 headphones? How much did you pay for the headphones you had on at the beginning, Stevens?
$300.
She's like, yeah, that sounds good.
$318.
Yeah, $318. Goddamn,
Don't
the
forget
kids
the
felt bad
taxes.
for her. The kids let her borrow some iPhone. They're like, damn, man, she's struggling. Here's some headphones, man. Go ahead.
She didn't have Raycons. She had J-Cons. I don't even know what that means.
Damn.
You
What
thought
are
they
they
were
called?
bees, but they were actually peas. It was upside down.
Are those
Beats by Dre.
those are the Peace by Dre?
Look,
So,
I can
the
hear
market-
you and you can hear me, right? That's what's important.
Because you switch your headphones. Don't be lying, Stevens. Don't be acting like you got your $18 headphones on.
Well,
Dude,
I think that's because I was connected wirely. If it was wireless, maybe it would have been better.
You're connected wiredly? You're not just wired in? You're wiredly?
No.
We're inventing new words?
I'm making. Yes, I am.
Stevens, I'm okay with that. Don't worry about it. You should have, when she first plugged in, Enrique just was like this.
I was like, ooh,
I didn't hear it, Enrique. That's all I know.
is someone meditating? What's that hum?
I didn't hear it. I don't know what they're talking about.
So, Barker, you sent me something. Let's really get Enrique annoyed about our topics today. Star Wars that he doesn't even watch. And now we're going into wrestling.
Oh God, no wrestling.
Hold
Really?
on. Oh, hey, you know what, bud? Hold on.
Hey, when the
All I gotta
world
ask
crashes down, I don't know
Wasn't
where
there
to
a
this song. All I know is
Come on,
Whose
Royal
theme song
Rumble,
is that,
right?
Enrique? Whose theme song is that, Enrique? Come on.
I don't know.
American.
Yeah, you do. His mono's hanging out on top of your roof right now.
Fat food. Hey, all right, little brother,
Oh,
take your
Hulk Hogan?
vitamins,
Yeah, there you go, Hulk Hogan, man.
drink your fluids, try not to be racist like
He's
I
still
am.
wrestling?
Drink your fluids? Did
Right.
he ever say that?
Eat your vegetables. Be a patriot like I
I
am.
just have a quick question. Did that man really get fired from WWE?
That's the word that Shane McMahon.
Or is this just part of the storyline?
These efforts don't have a good storyline, man.
That's a good point.
Like I could
who
see
got
him.
fired?
So Shane McMahon, the son, has left WWE. Like he's been released. His contract has been released.
Which, again, the rumor is because recently WWE is letting go wrestlers left and right. And not maybe the big ones, but a lot of really good ones. And with no reason. And everybody thinks they're going to sell. And they're just getting their bottom line so they can make as much money
So
when they
low.
sell. Yeah, because they're letting go of some dudes that you're like, oh, what? And I was telling Barca, so I had to wait for an oven and a microwave to be delivered this weekend, and everybody was at my mother-in-law's house because they were celebrating somebody's birthday. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it was a Saturday. So then I was like, let me throw the Rumble on. I get it free on Peacock. Let me check it out. I truly don't watch WWE wrestling. I'm all about AEW, and I'm like, let me just check it out. So they do the Women's Royal Rumble. Okay, Royal Rumble. It's a cool event. Even if you don't watch it, it's cool because all these wrestlers are in the ring at the same time or whatever. All these women that have blood, sweat, and tears have done everything they can to get to the WWE. And then the big surprise is Ronda Rousey comes back and she wins it.
Oh
That's all.
God.
And you're like, bro, you're a part-timer. You ain't even about the biz. And not only that, what does she do with Barker? She trashes the biz the whole time.
Yes, she's not.
She's like, this isn't real fighting. She's like, bitch. Yeah, we don't know that, but shut the fuck up. Like,
I like Ronda Rousey,
did
but
they
I
bring
don't
her
like her
back
as
then,
a
you think?
character because they made.
okay, so and I'll tell you. Oh, go ahead. No,
Well,
sorry.
they're trying to make her like Rowdy Roddy Piper, but he is a lovable asshole, right? He's the asshole with the heart of gold. The way they write Ronda Rousey is she's just an asshole, and maybe you
Who
can.
can't
Yes,
who could beat up every male and female there probably, but can't throw a fake punch and can't wrestle to save her life. So she wins the whole thing. And I'll answer your question, Stevens, about why they would let her win. And then, go ahead, Enrique.
How did she win? I'm just curious. Did she
Oh,
just throw
can
everybody
you
out of the ring?
So that's how in the Royal Rumble, you have to throw everybody over the top rope. And then when you're the last person,
Right.
you do that. So the person that she beat was Charlotte Flair, who is a second generation
dynasty, part of the dynasty.
Her
Come on.
dad was Ric Flair, bro. And great story how she got into wrestling. She never wanted to do it, but her brother OD'd, and she said that she was going to do it for him. And now she's been in the business her whole life. And she is wrestling. And she runs at her, she throws her out of the ring, and now Ronda Rousey's going to. And the cool thing about, or the thing about WrestleMania or Royal Rumble is that if you win that, you headline WrestleMania, which is their World Series, their Super Bowl, their everything every year. So I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Whatever. Okay. So then here comes a guy one. A bunch of dudes that have wrestled their whole goddamn life. Brock Lesnar earlier had lost his title, but of course, 35 people have to cheat for him to lose because he's Hulk Hogan now, where you can't beat him cleanly. It has to always be a shenanigan. And then who's the last person to enter the Royal Rumble? Brock Lesnar, and he wins it. And you're like, WWE, bro, you're another part-timer? That fool's not even he shows up when he wants to and he leaves. And to answer your question, I think that if you are a fan of WWE, they know they got you and they don't care because you're always going to be a fan of WWE. Doesn't matter what they do or they don't do. But and so they don't care. They want to give you the biggest stars. They want the biggest stars at the WrestleMania, where I think AEW is for fans that like wrestling. Those are the people like me that have watched AAA growing up and all that different stuff. You know?
I couldn't hear what you said. Sorry.
God.
Could you say that again?
She's going after my job again.
Yay. She's back, bro.
Lady, leave it alone.
Oh my God! Super Producer Siri has entered the studio and is kicking Super Producer Siri out of the ring. Oh, she's coming in. Oh, wait. Now they're locked. They've locked fists.
It's a test of strength. It's a test of strength. Hold on,
Stevens is hulking up. Stevens is hulking up. When it comes crashing down, I'm a free
Nobody does.
American. Oh,
I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh, is she?
No, I'm back in.
So I truly feel that AEW is for wrestling fans and WWE is for WWE fans. And they know nostalgia. They know that they're every once in a while they'll throw The Rock out there. Every once in a while they'll throw Hulk Hogan out there. People will love it, and they keep making. They're $1 billion company, so they obviously know what they're doing.
I get you, but what I wonder is, and what I wonder is how much nostalgia are people going to have for the post Attitude Era, which is post The Rock, post this, because any lineup that they show, and it's just it looks like they're all bearded white guys. And it could be, and I truly miss the gimmick. And I know it makes me a dinosaur, and it's from a more racist time where you have, this is an árabe, this is white guy on steroids, this is Mexican. This is black guy with chains. But the gimmick, the stupid over the top is what I love. And I think that post Attitude Era, it's going to be difficult for some people to identify, to be like, oh, remember when Jimmy Smith was there, and you're like, oh yeah. He looked just like
they're running. They're running out of Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. They're running out of Hulk Hogan fighting Ultimate Warrior. The Rock versus Stone Cold. Those things are kind of like what Undertaker, right? I was never an Undertaker fan, but people love the Undertaker. But they're running out of it.
I think post Cena, and I don't like. I personally dislike that they give these characters the heel turns, and then they don't let them truly be heels. It's like,
because they're good guys.
It's like, oh, Bailey's a bad guy now, and they're like, oh, we don't like that. We're not getting good ratings. Well, Bailey's a good guy now. And they're like, well, they don't like that. They just don't like Bailey now at all.
They don't appreciate the slow burn.
Yes.
Where again, AEW took over a year for Hangman to finally win his title. You know, and I'm like, that was pretty badass. They played the whole story out over a year.
I mean, I can see Enrique nodding. I can see Enrique nodding about it. Yeah, totally right.
So Enrique, about wrestling, but not wrestling. Have you watched Peacemaker?
I have.
Yay!
Oh, what do you think?
Oh, Enrique's doing a dance, guys.
Did you see the chonies?
Do you really want to think that?
Oh, I saw the chonies. I saw more than the chonies.
Okay. That man is packing a sausage stick, right?
You know, I have to be honest. I didn't take that close of a look.
Bro.
Yeah.
Were you like John, where you just looking him in the eyes?
I had to.
I'm more respectful.
No, Enrique has that
I
jumbo
was raised
TV.
to be respectful. I was raised to be respectful, so I would look at his eyes.
Don't come in here. No, while Daddy's watching the show. Daddy, what are you doing?
Oh my God. It's my wife's favorite show on TV right now. They're from watching you.
The show's nuts though. It's funny. It's hilarious. It reminds me a lot of Deadpool. It's the reason why I like Deadpool so much. So
okay, yeah, I don't disagree with you, dude. But on a legit, John Cena's fucking hilarious.
John Cena's good, but he's been good in everything. He's always been good.
Yeah. But this is like, I think Steven said it in a podcast ago, like he was born to play this character. It works.
But I mean, if you think back to like his early stuff, where obviously there were smaller roles where he would come in and out, he always did good. Like, but you just because there was combination, right? There were small roles, and because we kind of just were, yeah, that's cute, you know, and you just kind of like don't take it serious. But if you really sit down and think about it, like he's been really good in everything.
I know, bro. Have you seen the Marine?
Like, he's
What's this laugh? No, I yes, and I read an interview with him, and he said, you know what?
Like the comedy stuff, I'm because you know, playing off of this, like all his comedic, like small stuff, like what's that one he did recently where he was one of the
played
dads?
That dude in with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. That was funny too. What was that? He played like that guy that sold them drugs. It was a tiny little part. He comes in movies really small, but he just kills it.
Yeah, in Blockers, he was in Blockers. He was really funny in Blockers.
Yeah,
like,
he was really good in Blockers.
Yeah, so he's good. Yeah, but yeah, this role, well, like he was born to play this role. Like he fits it well, and
he says that post the Fred movie, he finally figured out to embrace the stupidity, the character, because before that, again, back to the wrestling influence, McMahon was like, no, you are going to be in this movie because it's going to bring us more money. And he said, no. Like, finally, he stood up to McMahon and he's like, no, look, people like us because we're us. The movie is going to give us more exposure. So we have to think about it the other way. Be in this movie because we want to be in this movie and we'll bring fans. Don't be in this movie because you think the Marine is going to be the greatest movie and you're trying to make me into the new Dwayne Johnson. And so once he did that, it was much better and his performances have been improved. James Gunn said, dude, I think this is the best improviser that I have ever worked with in my career.
Well, he's a wrestler.
Yes, right?
Those fools have to improvise moves on the go. Like, that's insane. But that was pretty high praise. So you're caught up completely, Enrique?
I believe so. What?
You saw the last one where they're having that conversation at the table about who else could I have gotten to blackmail than your dad? And he just starts listing names and like Ariana Grande, Mario.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande can't go to prison. Hilarious. She looks too innocent.
I agree with you on that. Dude, that scene is fucking hilarious.
There's an extended
Mario,
scene.
Luigi. Yeah. Oh, you're catching the extra clips at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay. Dude, they're so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
Tasty's
it's good.
Killing it. Like, everybody in that show is doing a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for it. They're going for it with the show, and it's everything is working. And they're like, they're just, I mean, they're saying, fuck it. We're just fuck. Let's just fucking get crazy.
All right. Hot take. Best wrestling actor, John Cena.
Over The Rock?
The Rock's never been this funny.
I don't know.
He's never been this funny. And no holds barred.
Hey, no holds barred. Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny.
Okay, who are our choices? The Rock, the real choices, because I know there's been a lot of wrestlers with like one movie, but you have The Rock, you have Hulk Hogan,
Kane in that
you
horror
have
movie.
John Cena. Again, real choices. Who else? That's it, right?
I mean, Hulk. You would even count Hulk Hogan?
Bautista's a real one too.
Let's see, Steve Austin.
He's had a few. I mean,
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper.
I came here to chew bubble gum.
You're good. You're ugly, lady.
Who was in? I've been rewatching. It's Always Sunny.
That's Roddy Piper.
Who made an appearance in that? It was a Roddy Piper. Yeah, he was good. He was good in that episode.
So, but honestly, I think he's the best.
Oh man, I don't know.
Tell me something The Rock's done better than what Cena's doing right now as his character.
I mean, The Rock is pretty good in all those Kevin Hart movies.
I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm saying is he better at that than Cena is in this role?
Bro,
this might be the role too, though.
He's a Spaniard who turns into a tree. Come on, Jungle Cruise.
He's a Spaniard.
The range to be a Spaniard in this movie, and then he's a Pacific Islander in the other movie. Come on.
In Skyscraper, he had no leg. He played a
Wow, bro. Yeah.
If people can see my disappointment over the screen, anytime you try to defend The Rock and you say a skyscraper, you fucked up.
Hey,
I'm just showing you range. That's all. I'm showing you
he
range.
fought Black Superman.
He is he Detective Shaw? Is that his name, or is he Hobbs? Detective Hobbs
Shaw.
or Detective Shaw?
You're
Which
giving
one
him
is
a
he?
higher ranking than I think he deserves. Detective
Isn't he a
Shaw.
detective?
He's
He's
no.
no detective.
Oh, what is he?
Who the fuck knows who anybody is in those movies?
He's either Hobbs or Shaw.
knows?
I don't know.
Is
Enrique's
it
the expert.
Inspector? What is he?
We're trying to bring it into one thing he knows so he doesn't feel left out. I see him on my computer all sad. He's like, no one's talking shit about what I like. And it's like, oh, I don't know. So no one's talking about Texas guns and
Is he not a cop?
Yeah, he's like a cop in that, and
special agent.
so he's just a badass with with guns.
Oh, Agent Shaw.
He's an agent.
He is Agent Shaw, right? Hold on. Let me think back to me on the ride.
No, he's
on the tram tour.
He's Hobbs, isn't he? He's Hobbs.
Oh, I think he's Agent. He's Lou Hobbs.
Luke Hobbs, yeah.
You know what? There's something that The Rock did, and I actually forgot about it, but recently I wanted to rewatch it because of HBO Max. Ballers was actually pretty good, where he plays the ex-football player that turned into an agent. That's actually pretty good. It's not super funny. He does some funny stuff in there, but look, action, Cena can do it. He was just as good as The Rock is in the Fast and Furious movies when he was in the Fast and Furious movie. It wasn't like, oh man, I really miss The Rock. And it was like, whatever, they're the same there. I just don't know if The Rock can be this funny. I remember CIA, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that the one? Or
Central Intelligence.
He was funny, but dude, I don't know. Maybe it's just because the R-rated makes me fucking chuckle. When they start cussing and shit, it makes me laugh. But like, Cena's killing it, bro. And if James Gunn's saying he's over here enterprising.
The role's made for him, right?
He's building ships. He's enterprising and creating businesses.
Yeah.
Drinking juicy juice. He's taking a swig out of his bottle.
I'm just gonna say it did. I don't know. I'm telling you, I think he's the best wrestling actor we have. And it's been a bit. The Rock hasn't done anything for a minute, though.
I am Captain now.
Oh no!
I am Captain. Everybody,
he's back.
Enrique's gone, bro.
My name is Ivan Orozco.
You there, Enrique?
No, I lost you for a minute.
Stupid, it's you. Your internet's whack.
It's me?
Yes.
I see everybody but Enrique.
Yeah, your kids can't. Hey, go tell Zion to get off that stupid machine right now so you can release some bandwidth.
Seriously. Sorry, guys. Everybody's on something right now in my house. That's what it is.
Tell the little one to stop doing them Roblox.
Roblox.
He's over there building neighborhoods or whatever, bro. Oh, man. So, with that being said, we are ready? Are we ready for the movie?
I've been ready.
This one's going to be interesting to me.
I've been ready my whole life, son.
All right. We'll be back after this break. And
we're back.
We're back.
What a break.
That is the trailer to Unforgiven.
Yeah, it was.
Unforgiven 1992?
No.
Oh, Unforgiven 2013.
2013.
Hit him with the back of the box.
Guys, this is a super complicated one. An old swordsman, Ken Watanabe, his former comrade, and a young braggart are hired by prostitutes to track down bandits who mutilated one of the women. This movie is directed by Sangyo Lee. It stars Ken Watanabe as Jubei, the killer, Akira Emoto as Kingo, Yuya Yagira as Goro, Yukiyoshi Ozawa as Sanosuke, or the chief, Shiori Kutsuna as Natsume, the cut woman, and Aiko Koike as the mad woman, or Mama-san, Ooh, man. This movie is heavy. This movie is literally Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. And that movie is amazing. I love that story. I love this story. So on a scale of 1 to 10, guys, this gets an 11. We will see you guys next week on the Gung-Fu Super Bros podcast.
Damn, we're wrapping it up real quick. All right. So before I ask you, Enrique, if you like this or not, Abarca just said it. This is Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood movie. The three of us, Super Producer Steven, Abarca, and I, have watched Unforgiven and this movie. I'm assuming all three of us really liked Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood, yes?
Oh, yeah.
So we are coming from a completely different place. I hope sometime, Enrique, you give Unforgiven a shot because I think it's a Western, but it's not. So I think you'd like it, especially if we hear you like this movie. So that being said, Enrique, what'd you think of this movie?
I think I guess I like this movie, but
I think I'm not in love with this movie. I'm just in love with the idea.
Oh, the movie, Unforgiven.
Elaborate, please elaborate.
The movie was beautiful, like throughout. I mean, from the first minute to the last, the movie looks great. The story, it was boring, I guess, but it wasn't like a boring where you just want to turn it off. For me,
What was boring? Because it was slow.
I don't know. I don't know if I was losing a lot in translation or something, but I mean, I could follow. I knew what was going on, but I always felt like I was waiting for something to happen, and there was a lot of build up throughout. And when stuff went down, it wasn't satisfying me in the way I was waiting for. So it was a lot of storytelling. You sound like those
dudes in that movie that weren't satisfied and cut up that lady.
Yeah,
because you're cutting up our love of Unforgiven.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if I would have watched the other one and kind of knew what was going on and would maybe appreciated it more for what it is.
That said, you're not a fan of Westerns. Like, you've never gotten into those Westerns?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan to where I seek them. You know, like, I need to watch that, whatever. Like, I don't mind them. Like I like the scenery in this. Like, it's beautiful. Like, I don't mind Westerns because of that. I just don't. It's not my first choice. Like, I won't go out of my way to watch a Western over something else. Doesn't mean I don't like it, but no, it was. The beautifulness of the movie kept me in it, honestly, but I don't know, something was missing for me.
Right. It's almost like this was an unnecessary movie because this movie is much more beautiful and resonates more with us. However, that being said, I think the other three of us really enjoyed this movie because it has very big shoes to fill, and it kind of does a decent job of doing so. That being said, I think we kind of all have the same nitpicks with this movie. We wish it would be all samurai, and we were a little confused with what time period this actually takes place. We know that after the shogunate, we start getting outsiders coming into China, as well as China. China, yes, but Japan and the introduction of guns.
Barca, just for clarification, after Tom Cruise dies as the last samurai, this starts happening, right?
I guess so, bro. Yeah. He gave him all the guns, showed him how to shoot.
Got it.
Actually, Ken Watanabe was in that, and he loses his job. This is the sequel to The Last Samurai. What? Levels?
So we had a question earlier when we were talking about it. That is
in our pre-podcast, the non-Gung-Fu Super Bros power.
It's without Enrique. It's at our jobs. We don't do shit at work, guys. No, but okay. Before you go into that, Steven, because I did have a question about that, but I want to go back to this statement of not liking the story. If we did an outline, and please, Stevens and Abarca, fill in wherever you feel necessary. This is a story of an old an old samurai in this version, who's past his prime, who's trying to go away from what he used to be and try to live his life as now a caring father because he has his 2 children, his wife has passed. Out of the blue, one of his old friends show up and they're like, "Hey man, we got one last job. And it'll be enough money for you to get out of here," because he's horrible at being a farmer. That scene where his poor little son picks out he's like, "We can't eat this, Dad. It's just dead," and like, so, but he makes his wife a promise that he would never kill again, because we start knowing from me, this motherfucker was a bad motherfucker. Like, his name was Juby the Killer, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was his name.
Yes.
So then throughout the story, it's like these old guys trying to make it happen again. Crux to the same time, this young kid coming up talking about he's the biggest motherfucker of all time. You find out that's bullshit. Then around him, the world is changing and going away from samurai to now more civilized because they're just as
Western
horrible.
culture.
Yeah, but if anything, they're horrible too. But it's a more civilized. It's like, and it's a thing we see in a lot of martial arts movies where like, what do they do when they're not neat? When guns come in, when things come in. That story didn't like click for you, Enrique? That didn't like work.
The story is, I mean, that is fine, but it's just the whole time that this guy's supposed to be a badass that never gets really shown to me. So I guess the whole time I'm wanting to see how much of a badass he is, and I'm just supposed to go off of, you know what I mean? Just off the dialogue that just the fact that they're telling me he's a badass. I never once felt like he was a badass.
But I think that's part of the story, right?
He trained Batman. How is he not a badass? He trained Batman.
Don't confuse Enrique, bro.
But there's never scenes. There's never scenes of him. Like there's never a quick like flashback or anything where you're seeing him being a badass in any way.
But I think that speaks to that time, right? Because there's that time where Goro's like, you killed all those people and all those kids. And his buddy comes up to him and is like, why aren't you telling him you didn't do that? It's like, he's not even that much of a badass. It's almost a story of him is what's the badass.
Okay.
But I will tell you that last fight scene shows you how much of a fucking badass he is. That was amazeballs. So I think like that's part of the story. It's like, he's truly not that dude, but that's the West. That's that time, right? Where like Billy the Kid killed 21 people. No, he didn't. He killed like 3, but like that was the story, right? Like and in that time, that's what we believed, right? And I don't know. And I almost think that character of the old samurai coming with the writer and the author is kind of like, look at these guys. They build themselves up to be these amazing samurai or amazing gunslingers. And you find out they're not.
I thought the coolest thing for me was the writer part of it, where, you know, all these stories that we know nowadays, like, you know, what we know to be history, like who fucking knows? Like those were all manipulated. Like those were all being told history for a purpose. Right? Yeah. That part of it I thought was pretty cool.
Or by
like,
super shitty people.
Yeah, like it made me think like, dude, that's kind of crazy. It does make you think like all this shit we think is history, like what really happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I really, just to disagree, I really enjoyed the story, but I really enjoyed Unforgiven. Or let's just say I'm gonna call it Clint's. I really love Clint's story too. That old school, like I said, it's like their last ride. They're like, you know, and they're not even those dudes anymore. They're not in there, but it's like I think that was cool.
I think me not knowing the original, the Clint Eastwood one, I mean, I think that hurts this one, honestly. I haven't seen the other one, so I gotta imagine the other one just probably is better. I'm guessing is better than this. Obviously, this one is just a remake, pretty much. But
what do you guys think? I would say the other one's better. But look,
this movie is one of the most beautiful movies we've seen throughout this podcast. I feel like, I mean, every shot is just perfect. Like it's just beautiful. It just, the lighting, the scenery, everything is really, and I love that shit. Like I'm, you know, but yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I mean, there's scenes in this movie that remind me so much of Kung Fu Zombie, dude, and there's just the juxtaposition of color.
I knew something was coming.
It was like,
the night scenes. I knew. I was just waiting.
So okay,
it's either talking shit about Fast and Furious or something. Like it's just something. Friends or something.
Do you think
kayfabe? Don't break the kayfabe, Enrique. Guess what the episode's called now? Enrique breaks kayfabe.
Kayfabe, dude. That's all we do. God damn it! All right, we just talked about wrestling. Come on, man. You're being a mark. All right. Anyways, Abarca. First Unforgiven, this Unforgiven. Sir. What's better?
Original Unforgiven.
Super Resistance. First Unforgiven. This one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Abarca.
Well, the first Unforgiven, because this you have two stories, right? You have the Unforgiven story, but at the same time, you have the Japanese government systematically looking and hunting for the Aiko, right? They look like indigenous people in Japan. And then you also have the juxtaposition of East meets West, and the East is taking over Japan with guns, with attire, right? If this was a Chinese movie, we would see people wearing pants and cutting off their cues. And so that to me is a much more interesting movie that I would have wanted to see more of an exploration of how that truly affected the people, because I'm left with that. What's going to happen to the Aiko?
Yeah,
and maybe now it's on me to do a little more research and find out what actually happens to them. But I mean, Unforgiven, the 1992 movie, is the third cowboy movie ever to get nominated for an Academy Award, and I think win Best Picture.
Yeah, so good. Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman.
I feel he's more washed up in that movie than Ken Watanabe.
Yes, Ken Watanabe still looks good. He looks too good. Where Clint Eastwood looks like he's been through that motherfucker. Like Clint Eastwood for the last 30 years looks like he's fucking done. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but he just looks old.
Now he's the old man, right? Now he's the little old man. But in that movie, you can see, oh, this is a man with no name. And he led a horrible life, right? And finally, when he finds love and he has kids and he settles down, and he's like, okay, I can rest, but you can't rest from these demons that you've created. Even his horse in original Unforgiven is a nag. You look like that horse and you're like, that horse is going to take you all the way to that town? I don't think so. I think this horse is going to die in the snow.
Yeah. Okay. Stevens, original or this Unforgiven?
I do like the original better because it was my first introduction. I wonder if I had seen this first. I'm kind of envious of Enrique getting to watch this, and that's why I'm kind of like, really, the story didn't stick out. I think it fit well, and there is like the sheriff essentially, right? Like the sheriff of the town. He's just as good as Gene Hackman in the setting that they're in, right? Which is what I was going to get at. It is very realistic from what I've seen in terms of the Western civilization coming to Japan, right? In the late 1800s, the shoguns have been, samurais have been said, no, we don't need you, right? So they've all left and they're fleeing and they are living lives of men trying to hide their past life, and they're trying to find new lives, right? That is all very true. From what I can tell, like the clothing is true. So people out in the country were dressed like they started incorporating Western clothing into what they were wearing. So not necessarily like cowboy clothing, right? But like like the Western, I mean by as like American and British and that kind of stuff that we had. So all that stuff seems to fit. And then the leaving of the samurai swords and bringing in guns and how that made its way out into the country also seems to fit. So like just thinking that I wish I had fresh eyes to view it, because I wonder if I would have that same, I don't know, like the fervor, I guess, that you get for Unforgiven. Like when we talk about that movie, even before this movie, like Unforgiven is one of those movies where I can just watch all the time. Like it's one I'll put on and watch because the depth of the characters is so realistic, and it is so gritty, and it is so like, it's heartbreaking because it's the story of the women wanting revenge. But then they're like, do we really want to kill him? Does he really deserve to die? Like he didn't kill anyone, right? But yeah, this is heinous. And to be honest, I think I like American version, 92 version better, because the women, I've just felt more from them. Like the one part that was lacking for me in this movie was the women. And because it did feel like they didn't really want to kill him, but it was a thing that was in the script. So we did it. You know what I mean? Like, whereas in the American version, that lady, who's that lady? I forget her name. She's like so gung ho on like, no, this is bullshit. And this is not okay for them to do. And we're not going to take this. She had more fight in her. And so I believed that a little bit more. So, but other than that,
you're talking about Frances Fisher.
Yeah, thank you. Other than that, like I loved it. I thought it was good. I thought the acting was really good. I really enjoyed this one. It was a good choice for us, I think.
One of the best things this movie does, in my opinion, is throughout this movie, when it's snowing, you feel cold. Like you feel the misery, you know, when he's farming, like you feel like that house, like that's a tough life, you know. When it's raining, you feel like having to deal with, you know, with the rain, and it's just in that way this movie is so good. You feel like you feel it. You feel what they're showing you on the screen.
Yeah. Now, both are good. I will tell you this. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than the movie we watched last week. Zatoichi, I enjoyed this more.
God damn it. Zatoichi is an underrated classic. Beat Takeshi makes that movie. Oh, I forgot to put on my makeup so you can see my eyes.
No, this movie is way better than that one for sure.
I
would
enjoyed
agree
They're two
with
different
that.
movies. Here's the thing. They're two different movies.
Yes, that's true too.
We can't compare Kung Fu Zombie to Once Upon a Time in China, right?
No, you cannot.
You know what hurt this movie for me also is, and it's unfair. It's unfair to the movie.
Let's hear Mr.
Just let me finish.
Hey, I'm waiting.
I was waiting for martial arts, honestly.
Oh, but
Because-
I thought they mentioned last week that it was another samurai.
Because I don't
follow-up.
know what Unforgiven is. So I'm not expecting Unforgiven, right? You guys knew what we were getting with this. But this is a podcast where we watch martial arts movies and we talk about it.
And
so I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see that badass scene. I'm waiting for the badass scene of this of the guy to show me how badass he is, showing me his moves, and I never got that. So
it was limited in the samurai-ness.
Yeah. And so that's
a great
where
word, Steven.
and so that's where this movie didn't land with me. But it's unfair to the movie, right? Because that's not what this movie is.
So,
and I think it's unfair. It's unfair to Japanese movies at all to think that you're right. We're called the Gung Fu, right? So Kung Fu is what we primarily focus on, and their movies aren't. They're not. I can't find another word. They're not chopsaki movies, right? That 70s term where it's not a kind of grindhouse movies. Samurai movies have a different vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely a different vibe. Yeah.
And I'm learning that.
it's like maybe the Western to the action movie, right? Maybe we're thinking like in America, to me, a samurai movie is a slower paced. You'll get a shootout, but then for the rest of it, they're talking. Yeah. It's very slow,
story.
Right? It's story driven. Where the action movie is the action movie, and maybe that's what more of a kung fu movie is. It's an action movie. We get those. Oh my God, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and certain ones in there. But even that has a lot more action than this movie did, right? So I will agree with you. But I also said that last week, Enrique. I think that's unfair to samurai movies because to me, it was how quick the fights are. But that's realistic. They're not gonna. That's not what that is. But you're right. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. But saying all that, the last fight scene in this movie is grimy as shit, and it's amazeballs. I mean, it's really good.
So, like, how is that different from like the scenes in Hero, for example, where they have swords?
But okay, if I'm going to say this wrong, but isn't samurai fighting based around like killing and like a number set of moves, like 3 or 6 or something like that? Barker, am I completely butchering that?
It's about efficiency, and I think what I don't want people to take away is that when Chinese people fight, it's always everybody's kung fu fighting.
No,
to use another old term, right? The purpose of a sword is to be efficient and to mow down your opponents as quickly as possible. So realistically, it's not going to be the Green Destiny, or it's not going to be Jet Li swinging a sword, because those are wushu movies. Okay, samurai movies. So think about in this movie, the guy's writing a book, right? The stories that he reads or that he writes are the movies that you kind of want to see. The ones that are embellished, that have more moves left and right.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
so the movies that we see we've been watching those stories. Whereas if we watched a more realistic Chinese historical epic, which we've done, which Orozco and I have done in the past, you're like, oh, this is not what I wanted because this is too long and drawn out.
Yeah. We ran into that a few times. You're right. But that might be more realistic, right? That's the thing. So, well, let's get into this movie. I mean, we've fucking talked about this movie for like 45 minutes. We haven't said shit about the goddamn movie yet. So let's get into it. It starts off with the Shogun being hunted that we find out is kind of accurate in the sense of they were getting hunted. Because right away, I think like, why are they cowboys? But that might be true to form is what you're saying, right, Stevens?
Yeah. From what I found, that's kind of where it's at. And even to the Ainu, right? They like those were indigenous people out in the country, and it's basically kind of like that cowboys and Indians feel for they're your Native Americans at that time, so they're native, indigenous Japanese. And
beautiful blood on the snow, like amazing, like just the you feel that man is like he's dying of thirst. I don't know what was for the alcohol, but he was dying of thirst. And like you feel it, like Enrique nailed it. Like it is beautiful from the get. Even the horses in the snow just looks fucking badass. He takes out the whole crew, right? To the point where they're running away from him. They're terrified. They don't want no more, but he doesn't care. He's killing them all. And it's violent. Like my favorite is when he breaks that branch off and just stabs the shit out of that guy. Like, it's like, damn, like he's using the tree. He don't give two shits. He's making it happen.
There's a stick sticking out of his back.
Yes. And then and then at the same time, he's saying these like amazing lines. Like even talking about like, that's, I like when he says, I don't want to die. That's a cry of pure instinct. And I'm just like, fuck, this guy's insane. So then we like, I'm going to go back and forth, right? The original and this one. In the original, do we have an intro like that, Abarca, where it shows our main character like being chased, anything like that? How is that different from the beginning of the original?
No, we start off with it's 1880, and we just see the two guys who slashed the prostitute. They've slashed her face already. Mm-hmm. And
so we get this little intro shot. It's different a little bit at the beginning.
It's different. And they have to quickly set up because there are title cards that give us the story real quick. Hey, it's 1869. This is what's been going on. Here's your main character.
Mm-hmm. But then after that intro scene, we do get to the scene of the girl getting cut up.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's a real tough scene. I understand what Stevens was saying about the ladies maybe not showing it, but that scene is like, wow, there's no value in these women because they have them tied up. Here comes the sheriff. I'm like, oh shit, is this going to be different? Because I thought the sheriff was going to really fuck these guys up or do something to them because the way he had them. But then he just decides when the master or the pimp or whatever basically says, hey, I just bought her, bro, and she hasn't made my money back. So what are you going to do about it? And he thinks about it and is like, oh, she's worth 6 horses. So just bring over 6 horses and we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn, like the lack of value of a person's life is insane. So again, that's to me, I'm already like, ooh, because you want to get away from the old West or the old East in this movie. But the shit you're doing is horrible. Was there more value in carrying around a sword and dueling with people, at least when they, then you fucking, oh yeah, just bring 6 horses and we're fine.
And I think
I feel like there was more of a sense of honor.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, Enrique. What do you got?
I think this is where you really feel for the women, where you agree, where you want the guys to suffer for what they did. And like Stevens was saying, but beyond this point, they never act like they really want the guys to die for it. Like there's a couple scenes there here and there where they show the anger, but it's just quickly that's the anger, but you don't really feel it. You don't really feel that that's how they feel. They're like at that point they're like pot committed and they just gotta like, we're already here, so we gotta act like this is what we want. But you don't really feel that that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting because the people that cut up the girl were old samurai.
Mm-hmm.
From was Sendai, something like that. So that was kind of interesting, but and it's so sad because they go back upstairs and even one of the ladies says like, well, at least he didn't kill her. And it's like, shit, you don't even value your life that much. Like, and that's sad. Like so again, this did a really good job of doing that Western thing when you're like, ugh, like you're like, it's just going to be a long ass ride, man, because this is where we're starting, after seeing this man brutally murder a bunch of soldiers. What do you got, Burger?
So if you've never seen original either of these Unforgiven, they are deconstructionist movies, right? The 1992 movie is deconstructing the Western. You take that small little bit of time to introduce the prostitutes and to be like, oh, you know what? This is really messed up. I feel for these people. Whereas in another movie, John Wayne would be like, out of the way, whore, and just proceed to go killing whoever, right?
I think that John Wayne said a lot of get out of the ways to a lot of different people in his lifetime. I'm just going to say that out loud. Y'all can fill in the blank. Go ahead and Mark, continue.
And
out of the ways,
this samurai movie, this samurai movie is doing the same thing. Just like Zatoichi, again, is deconstructing it, but they are deconstructing it in two very different ways. One goes into the fantasy, and one is much more realistic and gritty, and at times disturbing, because they make it a point to show you how her face is cut, how they're tending to her wounds, right? She's on the floor, and all these other women, this little coven that they built, are taking care of her. And like Orozco says, like they don't value themselves at this point, because it's like, yeah, she's still alive.
At least he didn't kill her. Yeah, sad. So then we cut to and there's even a thing where like she comes in with the knife before I go to that, and the sheriff's kind of like, if you do that, I'm gonna, like, he doesn't say anything, but he gives her a look of like, if you fucking stab him, I will fucking kill you. Like, and you're just like, damn, dude, like no.
But then makes it a point.
Sympathy.
He grabs her arm and he's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna stab him here, right in the neck, in the groin? Like, what are you gonna do?
And let's say that the only reason these dudes are mad is because she laughed at him because he had a little dick.
I mean,
like, bro,
you don't see Enrique mad.
That's right.
Damn.
I'm not mad.
Hey, you see what he did there? Because if I had a nickel for every time, I'd have a lot of nickels.
Perfectly happy. Trust me.
I like how you're perfectly happy in the situation.
Yeah.
I've had no problems with me my entire life.
So then we cut to our John
Boku.
To Boku. We cut to I was gonna say our John Wayne character, our Clint Eastwood character. And it's this man tending to his house, tending to his farm, his plants. My dad would have fucking had a heart attack if we would have seen the plants that this guy had and shit, because it was shit show city, bro. Like there was nothing
and he
growing in
lived
this bitch.
so close to the water.
Everything else is green, but where he's planting.
Yeah. I was like, shouldn't he have better food?
You should be able to just throw seeds outside of your door and shit should grow there, dude.
Yeah.
No, this motherfucker could not make it happen. It was a shit show there. That scene where the little kid pulls out that plant, and I don't know what the fuck it is, dude. He's like, Dad, we can't eat this shit. Like, you know? And it's like, what the fuck? Sad, though. It's sad because, again, and I wonder, Enrique doesn't know that's Clint Eastwood. Enrique doesn't know that's the guy that later is going to do. Yeah. So for me, I already feel bad for that dude. But am I making this movie better than it is because of the movie that was made before it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then maybe we are doing that.
Yeah. And so the difference with this version and the American version is that his old friend, or not even friend, just someone he fought in the war with. And the war is kind of different because we associate this time with the Civil War. So there were legit sides where it's like you were a shogunate and now you're not because they were trying to hunt you. Okay, I get that. But in terms of a stupid American, I've not heard of a war. I don't think about it in terms of war, but yes, it is an act of aggression. So there's this war thing. But in this movie, his friend comes in and says, "Hey, they cut up some prostitutes. We got to go get the money." In the original version, the kid comes to Clint Eastwood, right? The Schofield kid says, "Hey, you're William Money. You're the biggest badass that I've heard of. I've tracked you down. Come with me." And he's like, I don't know. And he then is the one that goes and finds Morgan Freeman, or in this case, Kingo.
I don't remember it like that. I thought Morgan Freeman comes and gets him, and then the kid joins them on the way. I thought it was the same.
No, because then we learn that Morgan Freeman Ned Logan has a Native American wife because he goes to see him, and that's where we see his wife.
He does see his wife. Stevens, remember that? Yeah, you're right, because he marries a Native American. Yeah, that's true. Because if he would have came to Clint Eastwood, he would have never been able to see his wife. Because I do remember that being a thing. So as you check that out, Stevens, I'll keep going with this. So the old man, in this case, I guess a Morgan Freeman character, shows up in this movie and basically lets him know, hey, cutting, they're giving out 1,000 yen. You can keep half of it. With that, you could change your life. You cannot be like you're living now, you know. And then there's one cool thing that is it Jubi?
Yes.
Am I saying that right? That Jubi
state. So.
Jubei says in this movie is that like, I promised my wife I wouldn't kill anymore. And then the old man, his friend, I call him the old man, he says, well, let me talk to her. And he's like, she's dead. And I'm already feeling bad for this dude, right? And what did she probably die from, Abarca?
Dysentery, tuberculosis. You know what? She had a headache.
A common cough.
Yeah.
She died. Dysentery, dog. We're just going to go with dysentery. But he says no because of all the things that he said. And then the guy's like, look, I'm going to go this way. If you want to, catch me up. So what does our man do? He goes to do his shit. That's probably why nothing's growing, because he's fucking burying all his goddamn samurais like it's underneath the ground. But he goes and he digs up his box that includes his sword. That is fucked, I might add. It looks like it is fucking, the dirt's coming out of this bitch. It's bad. And then is it a necklace that his wife? It's something she wore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming. So he kind of,
it's her necklace. Yeah.
He kind of does this thing where he kind of like chuckles and laughs about it. It is what it is. And then the next morning, he's telling his kids later, you know, and he's like, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. If you need anything, go grab your grandpa. Well, he doesn't call him grandpa, but we find out later it's his grandpa. Go to your grandpa. Now, when they pan back, it ain't like now, guys, where they should fucking go next door. My son was watching this movie with me, and he's like, hey, whoa, what the fuck? Is even his kids by himself? I'm like, I know, bitch, and I can't even do that to you. Like, he might be in his house, but yeah, he's in there for 2 weeks. And these kids are what, like 5 and 6?
They look young, yeah.
They're young as hell.
Yes.
Very young. So then he leaves them, but he goes to see his wife's father, who we find out is part of these indigenous people. And even the grandpa asks him, have you been teaching him that language? You know, and am I to believe he's asking the grandpa for permission to go? Or what's that conversation about, guys? What do you think?
I don't think he's asking for permission. I think he's just letting them, hey, heads up, I left the kids alone, so I may not come back. Just go and check on them.
But that's why I don't think that's what it was, because he says it almost like you say it. He's like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, the kids, I told them to come and get you if they needed you. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's almost like he remembers about the kids.
But so that was like the last thing he says, because I think it's like, I haven't seen you since, you know, your daughter died. You know, we're making ends meet, but we're not doing very well. Just so you know, I'm headed out because I got a way to make some money. If shit goes down, I told him to come here. Like, and that's how I took it.
And then he says that great line where he tells him, would you have went if she was still alive?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, you know, that's why the story worked for me. It really did. So then we get a flashback to that snow scene again, right? With some different talk over it, you know, and there's a great line in there too. There's a lot of good lines in this movie. I will tell you that. But, he also talks about how he catches up to the old man. They're hanging out by the fire, as people do. And he tells him, dude, like, he's like, you gave me hope. The old man tells him that. And he's like, bro, like, that's not even me. Like, I haven't drank since then. So when I thought he grabbed that water, I thought he was dying of thirst, but that motherfucker was dying of like the thirst my dad had growing up, like the alcohol. So he was different. Like, he was so into that he just was like, I needed to drink it. So we meet, I think, the saddest character in this movie, in this version of it at least. We meet Goro. And no, he doesn't have forearms. It's just a regular guy. But he has
forearms, but he doesn't have forearms.
Forearms. Good job. But the saddest fucking character. This was different than the original Unforgiven, right? I don't remember the kid being part of some like people that are being like chased or killed or anything.
The original kid has read the stories and he wants to be Billy the Kid. He wants to be one of these gunslingers where the gunslingers have died off or are sad versions of themselves now.
Yeah.
In this case, Goro he's an Ainu. We don't know that, but he comes in as young kids do, very, very braggadocious. He's like, hey, you know, like, I heard you're Yubei the Killer. And his homie, well, I'm going to go get those ladies too. I'm going to go get the killers. I've killed five men. How many of you killed?
Mhm.
And then he's just like, whatever, dude. And so he does something similar. He throws the bottle in the air and he shoots it. And then he just passes out because he's so drunk.
Yeah. And they just leave his ass there. They're like, whatever, bro. We don't need you or whatever. And I love that scene where they catch up. Well, okay. So then they're going, right? So again, he catches up to the little man. He has made the decision to go. And they almost make an agreement where like, dude, you're just going to pump me up. I'm going to do everything, but I'll still give you half of the money. I just need you there. Right. So we still are to believe that at this time, Jubei is just going to be there, like, and not even kill anybody. That's what we're thinking, right? So now
where in
they
the
leave
original,
young kid. Okay.
well, let me pause there. In the original, they make the money is a big deal because he goes to the kid and he says, "Hey, we need this guy. He's like he's a sharpshooter. We need him." And he's like, "Well, I'm not going to share my money." He's like, don't worry about it. I'll share my part. And the money is it's in contention the whole time up until the end.
Do they ever tell Goro he's getting a third of it?
No.
Yeah.
No, they kind of in this movie they kind of just all join together. They're like, hey, because they're the Jubei and Kingo are riding their horses, but they're taking the long way. And so they run into Kingo, who's shooting at them, and Kingo points his rifle and shoots the branch that Kingo's holding. So his dumbass falls. And he's like, dude, you're going the long way. I can take you the short way. Again, the youth, I can get to there faster.
And it works so because that's when they let him, like maybe if you ask nicely, don't they say please or something like that? And he's like, huh? And then he just kind of chases after him or whatever. Yeah. There's a real cool scene between Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood, their characters in this movie, the old man and Jubei. And he tells him like, dude, like he's like, hey man, if we go into town, bro, you have a little good time, bro. Like you can get some, and he's like, dude, I can't. My wife's watching. And he's like, and then the old man, again, also, they're all sad characters, but he tells him, look, dude, I found coal, bro. And they need this. Like, once we get this money, I'm going to find my place in the sun. Like, he sells him this story. Like, you can come with me. And I believed it. And I was like, oh, because later we find out that's a bunch of bullshit. But so then they have that scene. Now the three have joined together. The three are going along. And then cut to a scene where a samurai is coming to the town. Oh, and there's the guys have already fixed horses, like,
which seems really quick because in the original, the men don't return till like near the end of the second act. But yes, the men show. So in this movie, the two samurai bring the 6 horses, and then one of her, and the pimp is like, "Oh, that's a nice fur." He's like, "Fool, don't touch my fur," and he tries to give it to the girl, and they're like, "Well, this is how you're gonna say you're sorry?" It's like, no, stupid, cut balls and then apologize.
Yeah, and it's super quick. It happens right away, and you're just. But again, okay, there's still what it is, right? So then here comes the old samurai, and the old the chief. Again, I think wants to bring in the new, right, the Western way, a better way. And we get that thrown right in our face with this old samurai. This old samurai off like he's the shit. Like he asked a guy to duel. The guy can't pull out the sword because he's shaky. He makes him look stupid in front of everybody. He has a writer with him that's writing all his stories down because this guy's so amazing. He's cocky as fuck. Like he's not giving up his sword. One of the cops asked him like, man, you got swords and guns. Like you have to turn that in. And he's like, no, like you're not going to make me do it. But then the sheriff shows up and that motherfucker's a badass. Like he beats shit out of this old samurai. It's bad. And he finds out that his sword, it was like a trick sword, right? Like it had a latch on it, right? Because that's when he's banging it on the ground, the little latch falls out. So it wasn't that the guy was scared, which the guy was scared, don't get me wrong, but it's like you gave him a sword that you couldn't lose with. And it's like they're doing that just to show the writer, like, this fool's a bitch. Like, don't believe his bullshit. It's all these tales of these people that's not real, and like it's the scene in the restaurant super cool. Like he's so braggadocious, whatever. And I guess the sheriff, like I said, beats the living shit out of him, throws him into jail, and then does this super cool thing with him where he's like, give it to him. Like first he tells the writer, you kill me. And the writer can't do it because he knows he's a bitch. But then he tells him, all right, give it to the samurai. Let him do it. And the samurai's like, I'm not stupid. It's not loaded. And then the sheriff grabs a gun and shoots a bullet hole right in his head. And it's just, again, the sheriff's a badass. I really do like that character in this movie.
He's not a person, right?
No.
Yeah.
And he had an old Western mustache on him.
Yeah, it's good.
Little handlebar mustache.
Yeah, he did.
So-
About him, Barker.
So this movie, this scene is very similar to the scene in original Unforgiven, but in that scene, there's a writer, and he is writing with English Bob, this British gent, and I think that English Bob is very charming, right? He's very charming, and because he's British, because he's a foreigner, he's already charmed this writer to think, oh, I'm the motherfucker there is, in the Wild West, dude. Like, all the dudes do not compare. And so when he meets the sheriff of that town, when he meets Little Bill, you see
Gene
Little
Hackman.
Bill is Gene Hackman, the greatest criminal mind of our generation. Superman. But there's something sad where Gene Hackman in that movie isn't necessarily the bad guy. He was the bad guy. He was a gunslinger. And he's trying to, just like William Money, Clint Eastwood's character, left his old life. He's leaving this old life to embrace it, to become the sheriff. And in the entire, all of that movie, he's building a new house. And his house leaks. And it's a visual, and it's this internal metaphor for no matter how much good he tries to do, his house is always going to leak. He can't fill himself with enough good because of all the evil that he's done in this world.
That's very true.
We don't get the sense this guy, because I wish maybe they knew each other at the beginning, and we see them take very different paths. We his backstory so much.
So Enrique, I was going to ask Enrique. So you just saw the one. Do you feel any redeeming quality to the sheriff, or do you just feel like he's a fucking bad guy?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you guys. What is he supposed to be in this? Because to me, he's like a complete bad guy.
He's a corrupt cop. His power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. His power has gone to him, and he's like, "No, fool, I rule town." Right? He is King Kong. Ain't got nothing on me. He's Denzel Washington in Training Day.
He's Denzel Washington. Oh man, yeah, he really is though, and that's a huge difference from the original Unforgiven.
Okay,
because he I wonder why they didn't have some kind of story set up that way, because he didn't cut up the lady, so you could have made him that like bad guy, but not, because again, in his head he's trying to do good. Where I just kind of got the sense from this sheriff, he's just a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He wants to rule the town, right? Like,
yeah,
it's his way or no way.
In this one, in which way is he? Would you say he's trying to be good?
I don't think he is. Is what I'm saying.
I don't think he's good at all. No. And even when spoilers, they do track down both of the samurai, and the first one gets killed. The second one gets taken in by the sheriff and his men. In the original Unforgiven, you can tell that they're protecting him. He's in the jail. He's like, we got to make sure that he's not, because William Money, Clint Eastwood, doesn't get to decide whether he dies or not, right? The law has to decide what happens to him. And we've already ruled that he gives the horses, and he is good. So nobody else in this town can come and can override the law, not override me. It's like, this is what's fair and just for this man in the situation.
So yeah, that was a difference. It was a choice for, whatever reason, but this guy did this guy did a great job in his role, but I like awesome. Gene Hackman's character better.
Yes.
Because of the redeeming, because he's Clint Eastwood. He's just, they took different paths. You went to go make a family. I went to become a sheriff at this time. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we get that great scene where the old samurai is leaving, and he's just mad at the world. He's that dog with the tail between his legs, right? Like, you talking shit now, bro, because you got your ass handed to you. But this is a shithole town, blah, 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 blah. But like, the sheriff fucking punks him on the way out too. Oh, your writer? He decided to stay with me. And he just laughs at his ass, bro. And it's like, fuck, he's so gangster. They're just like, his dude's beat to shit too. just like completely handled, you know? So I enjoyed that scene. I thought that was really, really cool. So then, okay, so we get this cool scene, right? I really like this too, where Goro is talking to Jubei and he tells him, hey, bro, I heard about you when you went into this town and you were hiding in, like he says, you were hiding in the town, but then you felt like they tricked you. So you killed all the men, all the women, all the kids, and all the soldiers. And he doesn't correct them. He just kind of like, wow. And he kind of leaves. And the old man's like, hey, you're not going to tell him that you didn't do that. And he kind of just like, it's one of those things where like, again, their stories are almost bigger than what they really are most of the time. Right. And it's kind of like, I'm not going to tell anybody anything because that helps me in these situations. It makes people scared of me even before they meet me, which is a valuable like skill to have. Right. So it's just interesting that they don't do that. And then this is a scene where I thought the Japanese soldiers look like Mexican soldiers. They had the same like outfits, but they kind of run into the indigenous people getting punked by these soldiers, and Goro can't handle it, and he does this thing where he bangs his head up against the tree, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go." Where the old man's like, "Let's leave, let's get the fuck out of here before it gets crazy." But these are his people, and this is the saddest scene for me. Even worse than when he admits not killing anybody, because I knew this was coming. But this little twist I did enjoy. So he goes in there. He's trying to tell them in his language, like in their indigenous language, like, shut the fuck up. They're going to kill you. Just shut the fuck up. And, you know, he's trying to talk him. And then out of nowhere, here comes, you know, Jubei, and he grabs him and he kind of just like pulls him off. It's like, my bad, dude. He's like the whole, like, my friend's drunk. He's one of those, right? Like, let me just get him out of here. And they get the fuck out of there. And then the old man's shooting to just give him some time and they get out of there, right? So they make it out. But there's a great scene between the old man and Goro where he's like, oh man, you're indigenous? Is it Ainu? You're Ainu? And then he just fucking is crying and he's like, basically like, I'm worth shit. It's fucking heartbreaking. What'd you think of that scene, Marca?
I think I really enjoyed it. I like that twist. It's sad because we don't get to see a lot of movies where the American soldiers are essentially treating Native Americans this way, right? Very, very overt. We kind of see the aftermath. Oh, we're gonna run them out of the town, or we're doing this thing. But they make it a point to, they take one of the men, like the feistiest one. He has earrings. They're like, you need to take those earrings off. And he obviously doesn't understand. He doesn't speak Japanese. And so the militiaman rips his earrings off, right? I can imagine a scene where there's a Cherokee and they pull his, you know, they rip his feathers off, or they rip his war vest off. So it's horrifying. It's heartbreaking. And it's, again, if anything, makes me want to do research on the Ainu and what actually did happen to them.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I think, you know, indigenous people everywhere. I mean, my uncle told me millions of stories with, you know, indigenous people in Mexico. It's indigenous people everywhere seem to end up getting this treatment, whatever, right? I've always told my students, I'm like, you guys want to really get into history? Go take a few history classes in college. Like, do a Native American, you know, studies class and get ready to cry. It's not going to be nice, you know, when you're reading Trial of Tears and all that shit. Like, it's just heartbreaking, like, you know. So, yeah, it'd be cool to kind of do the same research for this too, because I think it's always indigenous people everywhere. Yeah. Like it always seems to be the same story in some way, shape, or form. But yes, the painting has the talk of like, I'm not even worth anything because I'm that. Like, even I think he compares himself to a pig, if I'm not mistaken, in that line. Like, it's just fucking heartbreaking, you know, and it's really, really sad. But we get that it's going, and then they show up to town, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's raining. It's that old west rain too. Shit, you can't even see what the sign says because it's raining so hard. You know, they're showing up. It's raining like a mofo. So, okay, this scene was kind of interesting. So the old man and Goro go upstairs because they're gonna have a good time. But
when in Rome,
yeah, okay, right. But Jubei, again, respecting his wife, like, oh man, my wife's watching.
Well,
I'm not
he's
gonna do
sick.
that.
He's sick.
Okay, he's not drunk, right? He's just sick.
No, he's sick.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and
he's got the rickets.
He's got, which again, in this time, he should have died. he's got a cold.
Yeah, probably.
He probably should be dead. So, which speaks to what Abarca said in our last samurai movie. That's why when it started raining, those samurai like, nope, hey, we're done chasing. because we get a cold, we're gonna die. Like, so they were like, no. So he's sick, and the sheriff shows up. And the moment the sheriff sees him, he knows who he is, right? Like, he instantly knows who he is. And he verbally and physically beats the shit out of him. To the point where very viciously, he cuts his cheek open to be like, you want to save her? I'm going to make you look like her.
Well, no. He says a villain deserves a villain mark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he's
like, oh, shoot. And then you're like, where's your villain mark, dude? So at one point, right? I wanted, see if you introduce it. Then I was expecting Jubei to also cut up his face.
Or I even thought maybe like behind it, like somewhere the guy had a huge mark too.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Something would have been cool. But I was thinking the same thing. So, but at the same time, Goro and the old man are literally jumping out the window and going to this like shack that these ladies know about that is like on the outside of town. Mm-hmm. So, and then the sheriff doesn't even respect him enough, Jubei enough to be like, kill him. He's like, let this fool go. He's a shell of the man he used to be. He ain't shit. He ain't ever gonna be shit. Like, let him go. So our man's crawling. He
crawls out of the bar. He crawls into the mud, and then it cuts to him waking up. Right?
Yes. Well, it cuts to our boys enjoying their their pleasures
we gotta get out of here.
But even then, before he wakes up, they're out there doing their stuff at the freaking shack, and they're like, "Oh yeah, our boy, he'll be fine. Don't worry about it. He's over there, just he'll be good." But they even say like, we have to wait a few days and see if he makes it. Then he wakes up when the girl that was sliced is taking care of him. So that's what he kind of wakes up to, is the girl, and they kind of have a conversation, and so forth and so, and like I think it shows why our man's going to go as far as he's going to go, because he appreciates the fact that she basically nursed him back to health.
Yeah, and they're bonding.
And I think he was out for 3 days, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I had to be gone for 5 days, so that's a good recovery for him.
It was 3 days. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
He quarantined for 3 days, and then his PCR, his antigen test came back well.
And you know what's funny? When he does crawl back to the shack, he asks the old man to not tell his children about what happened. He's like, please don't tell him what happened. Please, like, he's almost embarrassed that he got his ass handed to him, right? Mm-hmm. Or is that why he doesn't want his children to know, or what's the reason?
I think they don't know that he was this badass, right? He is this horrible person. To them, he's just their dad, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's like, don't tell them that, which is very eerily similar to one time one of my buddies had too much and was essentially ODing, and he was like, hey, don't tell my mom how I died. And I'm like, oh, bro, like you're gonna get through this. You'll be good. Don't worry. So I had to be in a Kingo position. But yeah, so I figure that if you are dying under these circumstances, you're like, hey, just don't tell them.
Not like this. Not like this.
Tell them I got dysentery. Yes. They'll respect that.
Dysentery, please. They'll respect that. It's a time for that.
And then the kid's like, oh, I get it. Dysentery got him.
Dysentery, just like mom. So he's back. He's good. They go and find the okay. So in our bad guys, we have one guy who like was there, but he was in tears the whole time this was happening. If you remember earlier in the movie, he didn't want his buddy to cut the girl up. He was actually yelling for him to stop. Mm-hmm. But our other guy was just like, hell no. She talked about my little dong. I'm gonna freaking cut her up. So they find the bald head. I call him but he had the shorter hair. And it's a gross scene because they shoot, but they miss, but they make the horse fall over and it falls on top of this man and it breaks his fucking, that foot was pointed in the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Well, his whole leg from his thigh where it was sticking out all the way down was like in the wrong position.
And these guys had muskets, and I love how Goro's like, muskets, and he just runs towards them because he knows it's going to take him a while, and it's crazy.
They're loading powder.
Dude, would you imagine that? That's gotta be terrifying, dude. Like, oh my God, dude. Jesus Christ, man. So we get that, and they get the guy. Right? Like they kill the guy, but like I almost feel bad for this guy too.
But here's the thing, and this is also happens in the movie. They hit the horse falls on him. He's got a broken leg. So they have to put essentially both of them out of their misery. Kingo has his rifle, Ned has his rifle in the original, and he can't do it. He's like, but dude, I can't do it. And so Jubei and William Money take the rifle and kill both of them. Right? Kills the horse, kills the man.
And that's when he slices a dude, right?
No.
Jubei's the one that kills him, doesn't he, in this movie?
No. Yeah. So the guy's crawling away. Don't kill me. His friends have gone. He grabs the rifle and he shoots the first kid. Right? The first kid. This is still the first kid. He shoots the first kid. And then that's when we get Kingo saying, hey, like, I used to admire you, but I don't want to be you. I'm nothing like you. I am not the samurai. I'm not the gunslinger. Like, essentially, you're a horrible person. How we're friends, I don't even know. But I was just bullshitting about Cole. Like this. It's like, you can have my money. I don't care anymore. You can have my money. And I'm taking off, man. I'm sorry.
I can't. He doesn't do it. So then our man comes in and does it. Jubei does it. And I think Jubei stays because, again, the relationship he built with that girl, right? Like, and also he wants some money, right? To get a better life. But I think it's like now he feels like he owes her for keeping him alive. Yeah.
At this point,
he's doing good.
He's already killed one of them. He just has to kill the other one. Yeah. And there's something missing in this movie that I'll get back once it's time. I'll get to it and I'll say the line. But so
our team of 3 is now down to a team of 2.
And the other guy gets taken in by the sheriff, and they're holding him in their prison. Right there, he's at the jail cell or the jailhouse, and we see. And again, I want to call him William Money, but he's not. We see Jubei and Goro, and they have just been almost like lions, right? They're ready to pounce. They're stalking their prey, and finally their prey shows up, and he's going to the outhouse. And so he walks to the outhouse, and Jubei tells Goro, "Hey, go! It's time." So he jumps the fence. He's got his gun, and opens up the I was gonna call it a porta potty. Opens up the stall, shoots him, and the guy isn't dead. He starts to struggle. Right? So they have this fight inside the outhouse. Takes out his Ainu knife and kills him, and then leaves the knife, leaves the gun. I don't even know if he leaves the gun, but they take off running.
He drops the gun and gets cannoli. So he takes off at that point.
It's a delicious snack, guys. It's Stelladora breakfast treats.
It is Stelladora breakfast treats. Drops the knife, gets cannoli, takes off, but then everybody starts shooting at these men. Yeah, and they're literally riding off, like trying to not get shot and stuff because it was almost like not a trap, but like you said, they're at the jail cell, so obviously everybody's there ready to go, and they get away. Then we get that scene where Goro admits this was the first time he's ever killed anybody. Yeah, I've never killed anybody. In tears, he can't do it. And Jubei just tells him, drink until you forget it, bro. Just drink until you forget it, because this is gonna be fucking horrible. You know? And now Goro's like, I don't even want this fucking money. Like, you can have it, dude. I'm done. And Jubei's like, no, I'm gonna go into town and do what I need to do. But you're gonna go with my kids, basically, right? Because here comes oh shoot. So I forgot. So at the same time, they basically track down the old man, and now they have him trapped, and they are fucking torturing this man.
The cops, you mean?
Yeah, the sheriff is. And this dude is a G, because he does not spill the beans about anybody. They even bring the main lady up to see it. Right. And they're like, and like they start branding them with like hot, pokers and stuff. It's fucking horrible. But he dies, and the girl that got cut up meets up with Goro and Jubei and basically tells him, hey, Like, they got your dude. He's dead, but he never talked. So now Jubei's like, all right, fuck it. Here's the money. You go see my kids. If I don't make it back, I'm going to go kill this fucking sheriff. Like, now it's on, right? Now, not only is he there for the girl, he's also there for his friend, you know? And it's like, it's fucking heartbreaking to see the old man go out like that. Morgan Freeman get tortured like that in the original one, Alberca?
Doesn't he get whipped?
It's whipped.
He gets tortured.
He gets whipped, which is always a disturbing scene, right? Because you're like, this is how it would be. And this is how it would be for him.
And what's crazy is before he walks, Jubei takes a drink.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like he hasn't drank in years, and he takes a swig, kind of like it's game time.
Exactly. And but in the original Unforgiven, the kid finally realizes, hey, I don't want to be a gunslinger. I am nothing like you. You're a horrible person. Like, why I enjoyed this, I don't know. And that's when Clint Eastwood says the line. He's all, it's a hell of a thing to kill a man. You take away everything he was and everything he's gonna be. And it shakes the kid to his core. He's like, I don't know what to do with that now. Like, I'm out of here. And so in this movie and both in the other movie, the girl brings their money, and then he's like, I'm waiting for little Ned. Well, in the original, he's like, I'm waiting for little Ned. And he's like, well, no, Ned's dead. And you're like, what? And so in this, he says, Kingo's dead. They tortured him. And so he's like, all right. Then he takes a swig of his alcohol. And then that's when he tells Goro, here's the money, count it, go see my kids. And he takes off to the girl.
Town. He gives her the necklace and says, this belonged to their mom. Here you go. Take it.
Yes. And she taught me, and I really like that because she's like, she taught me essentially how to be a better person, that there's more to this life. And so he gives her the necklace with the hope that she's going to leave that life and
live a better life.
And live a better life. Just get married. Or not even that, but just live a better life. And so cut to the biggest, the best scene of this movie, I think.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that one. He shows up. We've
lost Enrique. He's like, I don't believe none of this bullshit. Y'all fuckers are crazy. He's like, did you watch the movie I watched? Because I didn't see it.
Well, that's the thing. We watched the movie you watched and the other movie, and I think that's a hard thing about this, right? Because we're connecting so much to that old movie.
Well, so let me ask at this point: do you think Juby's like, he's like, I'm going there to die?
Yeah,
I
think so.
In this version, yes. He's like, I need to do what I need to do, and if I die, I die.
I think he knows he's gonna die.
That's what I'm saying. Is he pretty much saying, hey, go take care of my kids because I ain't coming back?
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas in the other one, we don't get that. Clint Eastwood comes in the same way. And again, he's got a hardcore line. In the original, he's like, my name is William Money. I killed men. I killed women. I killed children. And little Bill, I'm here to kill you. And he's like, what? Bam! With the double barrel shotgun.
Yeah, this last scene is fucking amazing. Like that room it's crazy. I mean, he comes in, right? And everybody's kind of like, what the fuck? Right? And they're literally, everybody has guns and swords. He's walking into his fucking death, right? But the first person that walks through the side doors is the innkeeper, or the owner. And he's like, are you the owner? He's like, yeah. Blast that motherfucker. Like, just shoots his ass. Like, he's dead. And then basically tells the sheriff, I'm here to kill you. And then it's a mix of gunplay, a swordplay, just a fucking fight. It's so gritty and badass. And he kills the sheriff pretty quickly with the dope ass like samurai move that's like fucking badass. And then he starts to just kill all these fucking cops and soldiers. And cause at some point the sheriff fucking got like everybody in town to come, or all these killers to come. And he goes through all these motherfuckers like it's nothing, dude. But at the same time, he's getting stabbed and he's getting shot and he's just fucking going. We're going to say Enrique?
Yeah, they were, before he shows up, they were basically kind of preparing themselves to go find him, right?
Yeah.
They're like drinking and to get warm because it's snowing out.
You have to again, watch this movie because I think, again, we'll talk about whether we think you should watch it. I think you should because it is good. But this last scene, fucking amazing. It's so gritty and raw and just, I think this fight scene is better than anything that was given to us in the last Samurai movie we watched. This shit was crazy.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Did you ever feel like in this scene, he could have very easily been taken out before that? As soon as he walked in there, like so many of those guys had guns, or they were just at the mercy of the orders of the sheriff. And then once the sheriff died,
remember, this is the guy that killed all those cops. This is the guy that killed all those men, all those women, all those kids. And I think part of their stalling is they're scared of him.
Yeah.
And again, I think that speaks to the story of the West or the East or whatever in this, right? Where it's kind of like, oh shit, that's fucking Jubei the killer.
Yeah, once he kills the sheriff and then everybody else kind of wants to fight him, you definitely see the fear in everyone.
And I think that, again, that's part of this. That's part of the Western or the Eastern in this case, right? That's that thing where they're like, oh shit. And he's very smart, killed the owner and then kills the sheriff, right? Because now all the motherfuckers, it's the head of the snake, right?
Yeah.
Right? And he's probably thinking like, oh fuck. And some of them do try to fight back. But even when they're like stabbing him, they're like,
yeah, exactly. They're all scared. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they're scared of his aura. They saw it when they walked in, it was purple. They're scared of him, of the story of it.
And without the quote, without the line, I don't think it has as much weight because think about it. William Money, Jubei, he is determined to kill these people, right? It doesn't matter if he dies. These people have families. These people have other lives that they want to get back to. And it seems like a lot of those people that had the guns, that had the swords, didn't want to do that in the first place. They're like, what? They're like, what? The sheriff even says, have you guys forgotten how to hold a sword? And some of them were super young. They're like, I probably haven't held the sword, right? It's heavy. So yes, he could have been taken out quicker. And this is why it would have made, like, it's a cool scene, but it would have made more sense if it was just samurai, if it's just guns, because his plan of attack is different, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, Jubei gets stabbed in the side and he gets shot in the upper chest, shoulder. And he yells to everybody, hey, you know what? Like, go. If you want to stay, if you're going to stay here, I'm going to kill you, but go. And so people are like, they stop what they're doing and they're like, okay, cool. And then we see him. Does he exit the inn or do we just cut to, no, he does walk out of the inn.
He walks out of the inn and he has that great line. They're holding the old man, right? The ladies are all holding the old man. And he just looks at him and he says, wait for me in hell. It's like, damn.
Well, yeah, the old man's hanging outside the building before when he's walking in the first place.
Yeah.
And they bring him down, right? And they're kind of holding him and stuff like that. And then that's when he tells him that line, right? Like, wait for me in hell. Yeah. Which makes me think, like, wait for me a few minutes while I die? Or does he live?
Well,
that's a good question.
It's one of those endings. Okay. Well, let's finish this up and then we'll tell you our breakdown. So before he exits the inn, the writer gets up. He's like, oh, I'm still alive. And he checks for bullets. And then he says, I want you to write my story the way it actually happened. But if you talk anything about Goro and the cut up woman, the prostitute, I will come back and kill you. And then so after he sees him with the prostitutes, Jubei gets on his horse and he just walks away. And then we do a quick cut to Goro and the prostitute arriving at Jubei's house. And it's kind of implied that they are going to now create a life together. And they have adopted kids, right? And then the last scene is Jubei walking alone in the snow. Yeah. Like Wolverine style, he's like walking very, very tired, very slow. I think at that point he's dead.
I think so too.
Both.
I mean, it seems like time has passed, right? At that point.
Figuratively and literally, he is dead. He is walking to hell. He is walking to the gates of Maifumado to meet his maker, to meet all the people he killed, right? To get his punishment, or maybe to get to see his wife. Who knows? But in this, the white to me, because the white you can go anywhere.
You want it
yes, but the white to me just seems purgatory. He's in the middle world. And then credits.
Yeah. I mean, so, all right, Abarca, would you tell people to watch this movie?
I would, yes. But if I would say watch the original one first, because that one has a kind of a happier ending. After Clint Eastwood kills everybody, we see him get back to his kids, and then we get the title card that we don't really know this, but we believe William Money went to San Francisco and he became like a dry goods salesman. And then we see that the family of his wife who didn't understand why their daughter married an outlaw, they finally go visit her grave. And then it's Unforgiven. Like, credits to that. So yes, watch Unforgiven. Watch this one. I think they're both really good movies.
Enrique, would you tell people to watch this movie?
Yeah, I mean, just for how beautiful it is. I mean, it's worth watching just for that.
But if you're coming in with the idea that first of all, Japanese samurai movies are not going to be wushu movies. They are not going to be over the top. There are some movies that are. Like I would eventually, I want us to come back around to watch Shogun Assassin, which is Lone Wolf and Cub, and that is more of a serialized account of the samurai era.
Okay. All right.
Superfan
I would say yes. I would say yes too, but I would say watch the original one though. Like, watch them both for sure. I think so. What do you think about it, Stevens?
Oh yeah, watch it. I think if you have not watched the other one, maybe watch this first and then do it in reverse order and let us know how it goes.
Yeah. I think they're both good movies, but I would watch them both for sure. So hopefully, Enrique, you get some time at some point and you check out Unforgiven.
I'll try to,
especially since you have something to kind of like watch it to, compare it to and see what you think.
I'll try to watch it before.
I'd be curious to know what you think watching that one second.
Yeah, I'll try to watch it before our next recording and
check it out. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, that was. Oh, go ahead.
And Enrique, it is a deconstructionist Western. There are bullets. There's all of that, but it's not. But it's not to the balls to the wall. New Magnificent Seven. It's not a Tarantino movie. It might be a slow burn. So I'm giving you that knowledge.
It's the same movie.
Yeah.
Expect a slow burn for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're switching lanes completely next week, man. Stevens, what are we watching next week?
Are we not rating?
Okay.
I'm assuming you're not rating. What's happening?
I'm not
You're just jumping over here.
Guys,
I don't think it fits.
Number one with the bullet. It's at the top of my charts. We have a long distance dedication.
Well, it's a different kind of movie, right? It doesn't fit our list, anyways. I would say
we're the Gung-Fu Super Bros. But I more than anything, what we want to do, Enrique, and I know sometimes they're not going to be to your liking. We want to take you all around Asia to show you these movies and to show you a little bit of what kind of we grew up with, what our loves are.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I feel bad saying that I didn't like this movie. It's not that it's not a good movie or that I didn't like it because it's not good. It just wasn't what I was expecting. Right. So,
but let me tell you this, whether you liked it whether it was martial arts or not, because we do say martial arts.
Yeah.
Would you put this in the top 10?
Oh,
I wouldn't.
No,
I don't think it's better than the 5 Deadly Venoms.
No.
So would you, Obarka?
No, I would not put it. Look, I like Zatoichi in different ways in this movie, and it's apples and oranges. Like I can't put this in our top 10
yet
and fairly rate it because it's just aesthetically pleasing. It follows the movie that I like. Right.
Okay. So, Stevens, even though we're not going to the top 10, just remind people what our top 10 is for this. Well, it's going to stay the same, but our top 10 now.
Sure. So at number
but
one,
also tell us the facts on this movie, how much it made. Let us know the background of the director.
What happened at the end of this movie, please?
Filming locations.
Could you find out a sandwich that I had once at McDonald's? It came in 2 different boxes.
Let me do all that, but first let me give you your list
and give us a top 10.
At number 1 is Fearless. Number 2 is Enter the Dragon. Number 3 is The 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Number 4 is Way of the Dragon. Number 5 is Crippled Avengers. Ooh. Number 6 is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Number 7 is Fist of Fury. Number 8 is Iron Monkey. Number 9 is Kung Fu Hustle. And number 10 is The 5 Deadly Venoms.
By the way,
yes,
The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, is that not the first movie we ever watched?
No, Enter the Dragon, bro.
Enter the Dragon, son.
Number 2, the second movie.
Second movie
Yes.
we watched.
Yeah, those 2 movies. Damn, we started off with some bangers, huh? Top
Yeah,
three.
We're
we
still
took you- we
watching
took
bangers,
you-
man.
Man, we
that
took you
zombie
on a
movie with
hot
Kung
first
Fu?
and second date, bro.
No, it's just impressive that those 2
And you didn't like any
they're
of those. That's the crazy part.
No, I loved it. What do you mean?
He did like 36 Chamber of Shaolin. He did.
It was like,
I did. I know. I like that movie. I like that movie from the jump for sure.
All right, Enrique, tell them where they can get a hold of us, man.
Gung-Fu Super Bros Pod on Instagram and Gung-Fu Super Bros on Twitter and Gmail.
Abarca, where can they give us a call?
Hey, folks, you can call us at 661-401-5941. That's our Google Voice number. You can also leave us a voicemail at www.gung-fusuperbros.com. Guys, if you have a chance, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to. That actually helps our metrics more. And if you have not subscribed, guys, why not? Eventually,
Send us a. Oh, what?
yeah. Eventually, I want to continue making our way around Asia. We need to check out some of give some love to India and check out some of their movies because they are
I've heard.
amazeballs. Yes.
And hey, if you guys can't do that stuff, write us these handwritten letters. Like, I mean, we can read those out loud too. My wife gets handwritten letters from Jehovah's Witness people all the time, telling her to like jump on. I don't know why, but they're handwritten and they're sending the mail at least once a month.
I got a call today on the phone.
She's on the list.
I got a call and they said,
I told
"Hi,
my wife.
we stopped by your house. Sorry, we
Okay,
missed
luck.
you. But here's this scripture." And then they're like, because the Bible's going to tell us exactly about the end of the pandemic. And we're like, yeah, the 7 seals are broken. Rivers turn to blood. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
Grandma's hitting the heavy bag. I heard this. Martin Lawrence told me the same thing.
And Gabriel's horn, dude. Like, let's do it. You know what?
But look, your people
You know
call
what,
you.
Apocalypse?
My
Shit'll
people
get off the pot. I'm tired of this shit. All right? Either I wear a mask or I don't.
Look, your people just call you. My wife's getting handwritten letters. I told my mother-in-law, I'm like, hey, I think she's hiding something from us. I think she's
That's a
undercover
level.
switching religions on me or starting a religion on me, man. I don't know what the heck's going on, bro. Handwritten
How dare
letters,
you,
bro.
You do live close to Kingdom Hall.
We do. Maybe that's what it is. But she's like, hi, my name's Maria. And then she goes into this long thing of why it should be her Jehovah's Witness. It's great. Anyways, be on the podcast. Enjoy. Stevens, what are we watching next week?
Next week, you are returning to Jackie Chan. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're going to watch Drunken Master 2 or The
AKA
Legend
my
of
dad when he used to
Drunken
drive
Master.
and he was drunk.
Since hold on, since we watched the first one already,
Yeah.
can we watch a different Jackie Chan movie?
No, we're watching Drunken Master 2. Fool. Did you not hear what Stevens just said?
I think you're gonna like this one, Enrique. It is newer.
90s.
It's 94.
Mhm.
It's still same story. But it's all Jackie.
Can we
it's-
watch a 95 Jackie Chan movie?
No, we're not watching 95 Jackie Chan movie. We're watching fucking Drunken Master 2. What can you understand, bro? What's going on?
This is one of his top movies. Like if you look at all the
Yeah.
lists, this is one on the top of his list all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
What
it's
are
a
you
good one.
What are you
I
trying to
guarantee.
watch, Enrique?
I'm trying to watch Rumble in the Bronx.
That's a dope movie too.
That's a good movie. We'll get to
But
that.
this is bad.
I thought you
I
were
think this is
talking
bad.
about Tuxedo.
I thought you were talking about Operation Condor.
Hey, that's a good movie. How dare you?
How dare you?
All right.
You can rent on
Okay.
Apple TV or Amazon Prime.
All
I
right.
don't see it streaming anywhere.
Abarca, say bye.
Hey, be good humans, folks.
Enrique,
Thank you for listening.
super producer Stevens.
Bye.
I love you guys. Keep spreading that love. And remember, I killed not because I was afraid to die, but I was afraid of what I would become.
Wu-Tang, motherfucker.
Wu-Tang, motherfuckers.
All right, stopping that.